November 8, 2013 was any other day for the most of the world. About 8 billion people in the world woke up to the world they left still for the next day. 3 years ago, on November 8, 2013 was a historical standoff between man and nature. Man didn't stand a chance. Towns woke up to howling winds. Homes were swept away. Families lost in the dark mess. A torrent of screams and salt water. Typhoon Haiyan sent the whole world ending their day glued to TV screens in horror of the perfect storm, which turned city after city into piles of debris, taking thousands of lives and leaving more broken in body and spirit. The world's eyes and hearts were sent out to eastern, central, western Visayas, specifically Leyte, Samar, Bohol, and Cebu, and for the Filipino people. The morning after, the worst was far from over. Bodies lay at the streets. Those who survived the ordeal had to face hunger, thirst, and the worst of the human condition. It's at the darkest times of the night that even the smallest flicker of light would remind you to keep going. And in times like these, you'll know that the world doesn't feel so small after all. How the rest of the world came together hand in hand was unimaginable. Borders melted, languages crossed from Sydney to Tel Aviv, New York, Beijing, and Hamburg. From different peoples and religions came together to help. There was little to start. JPIC-IDC, a local NGO, put together resources from Verbo's San Carlos Foundation and Society of the Divine Word Philippines Southern Province provided funds. Students of San Carlos University shared what they can: food, clothing, water, basics, and willingly laid their hands in service. Later on, funding was provided via the Stellar Missionaries, Society of the Divine Word, and Generalate's distribution, which meant more rice, canned goods, blankets, and other essentials were obtained and packed to be sent to the concerned areas. Volunteers lent their time and worked for days and nights, all days of the week, left comfortable beds and homes to sleep on repacking sites to wake up the next day hauling the next batch of goods for delivery. Organized systems were put in place as working hands grew in number, eager to contribute as much as they can. The management took charge in provision of food supplies, cooking utensils, basic medical services to aid what remains bare and bone of the affected cities. Packed goods were shipped directly to outlying villages. With local infrastructure in disrepair, some towns were cut off the grid and were unreachable both on foot and vehicle. Some towns went for a week without any resources. That when the first trucks arrived with packed goods, it took the assistance of local police to keep in bay a hungry, disgruntled free-for-all. Dedicated service teams were briefed and supervised. A coupon system was established to maintain order and distribution. After the furthest towns were reached and basic needs stabilized, it was only step one of many more. It goes without saying that it had looked impossible to start over again. As the first waves of relief had settled, people slowly moved out of proxy tent cities built around the distribution centers and back to what remains of their lives.
Nakuunan pa sa silingan, patay naman siya. Sa pagtuo sa mga tao na heat-stroke daw kay diha sa sasud sa tent.
Surviving families had to battle the scorch of the sun during the day and the cold, rainy evenings without proper shelter. Some lived under aluminum sheets, fallen palm trees for roofs, or the concrete bones of old homes. They would wake up in the middle of the night drenched in rain and mud to dry out in the sun the next day. In a week's time, children got sick from the quality of water available. Some couldn't make it. Some didn't make it. Houses were built. Families were sheltered again. It was a great sight that each person in the affected communities was united in helping each one stand up again. A total of 5,653 houses were built in Leyte, Cebu, and Bohol. As roofs covered the family's heads, medical practitioners also covered the health concerns of the people. Medical missions came together with JPIC, who shouldered the logistics and the management. Senior students from the University of San Carlos participated as volunteers. Treatments were given to the victims who were suffering from diarrhea, cough, and skin diseases brought by the aftermath of the storm. Typhoon Haiyan wiped out the school buildings that have been the breeding grounds for the young minds.
Wala pang building, as sinapsika to, amo to siya yung mga temporary classroom sa mga bata. As per looking, kung ano kayo siya inconducive ba?
But as one door closes, another one opens. New buildings were planted and now growing the country's future. A total of 22 schools were built or repaired. Livelihoods hit rock bottom again, but with as the help came, families were given a good amount of capital in order to start again. This aid provides sustainability for the families. It's like a seed that could grow and bear more fruit as it is being watered with hard work and hope. The help was, for the villagers, a reason to come and build a better life, rebuild over the memory of what was lost.
Nalipay mi sa pag-abot sa TPIC na hayop mi. Tabang, aron napabalay mi. Tagaan. Ako ayaw.
For the farmers, a challenge to begin again. To continue to grow stronger and even stronger with the planet in mind. For the housewives, a chance to build a life for young eyes. Eyes that will forget the horrid date of November 8. For the village chiefs, an opportunity to steward their communities with conviction, responsibility, and benevolent authority out of the shadow of yesterday and into a hopeful tomorrow.
CPIC talaga nagre-respond sa lahat ng hinihingi namin kasi nakikita nila yung ginagawa namin dito sa barangay at yung partisipasyon ng taos.
For the teachers, a purpose to impart wisdom and heart to the next generation of Filipinos, not as a reminder of the past, but a promise of a better, brighter future. For the students, a gentle push to look beyond the insular wall and into a bigger world for sustainable solutions for country and the planet.
Pero masalamat ko sa Ginoo kay wag ko niya pasagdi kay may gigamit sa mga tao kay isip ngayon sa pera.
For the children, a gift. A gift of generosity, to live the life dreamed of the past generation. For the Philippines, it was a start. For the better, because sometimes a start is all we ever get. 3 years down the road isn't so long to forget the nightmare of November 8, 2013 and the following days. Some say they stretch out like forever in memory. 3 years wouldn't be enough to grieve for those who were lost in the water or those who were never found. 3 years. But that's 3 years of us putting back together our lives piece by piece. That's 3 years of living day after day and being grateful for a life we're living. That's 3 years of slowly getting back on track. We'll see our old walls built back up again. We'll find our hens laying eggs the next day. We'll see tomorrow and tell stories about how the world felt so small, and hands from all parts of the globe came together and held our dampened palms. For 3 years on, and for the rest of our lives. Thank you. Danke schön.